one of the favourite things that we like to do as a family. So you're looking forward to this, aren't you?
We are in Swansea Bay and, well, not Swansea Bay, but Caswell Bay.
We're in Caswell Bay. We're in Caswell Bay.
But it's part of Swansea.
It's in Swansea. It's in the Gowers. Yeah.
And it's in Caswell. We've got some rock pools that we're going to explore today.
Yeah, we love rock pooling. So the things to think about when you're going rock pooling to keep you safe. So number one is really to make sure that you've got some good footwear. So you can either wear wellies, or I'm going to wear some rock pool shoes so that I can get into the rock pools. I don't mind getting my feet wet. And to think about, because it's very uneven ground, it's very rocky, and to think about the tides. Always go as the tide is going out. So it's good to check your tide tables, which you can do online, or you can get a little book, which you can get locally. And every tide is slightly different to where you live, so you need to check where you live. So look for the tides and work with the tide as it's going out. And also thinking about slippery seaweeds, because the seaweeds on the rocks are really slippery, so try to step on bare rocks. And look for escape exits, so don't go too far from where you can actually escape from. So we are really close to the sand over there, so if we see the tide does look a bit like it's changed and we've lost track of time, we can escape quite quickly. You don't need to go too far to go and find rock pools. You can find nearly everything you want to see is really, really close by. And the trick with rock pooling is to look and be still. Sometimes if you go too fast, you'll miss the creatures. The creatures will be there hiding. They always like to hide. And they're underneath things or they're in crevices. So always be patient. Sometimes if you stay still, they'll come out to look for you. So if you want to go rock pooling, I also recommend a good ID guide, an identify guide. This is one by my colleague. This is written by my colleague Judith Oakley. Fantastic book. It's worth getting. It's got lots and lots of Welsh. It's probably very British, but she's particularly concentrated on the Welsh species. So we've got our guidebook. We've got a tray. We've got a bucket. Always go for white so you can see your creatures. And always put one creature at a time into the trays and buckets, and then you can put them back.
And be very careful when you're walking, because you might slip, like she said.
Yeah.
There's lots of seaweed, and we can introduce you what seaweeds there are.
We'll have a look, shall we?
Today we're just going to go and find some rock pools and see what we can find.
There we are. Thank you, trusty assistant. Let's go. Come over here. I've just seen a crab. There's one in here. Can you see that there? Look. Can you see it? Yeah. Should we see which one it is? Hello, little crab. Oh, this one's... Let's have a
I
look.
think sometimes it could be a girl or a boy.
Yeah. Should we see if this is a girl or a boy? Or let's see what type of crab it is. I'm going to be really, really careful. Oh wow! Look at that.
It's got baby hair. Wait.
Now that is quite exciting. See all that spongy orange underneath? That's eggs from the crab. So this is a girl. And she's got a really big triangular flap which she then puts her eggs underneath. This is a shore crab, and shore crabs often are. She's a good size. She's got her eyes are just here. So this, you see the way I'm holding her, on the side of her, what's called the carapace, which is the top shell. We're holding her at the side so that we don't get pinched, but also we don't poke her in the eyes. And that's her mouth there. Okay, so she's looking a bit worried because she's thinking, why are they picking me up? So this is a shore crab. They often kind of a greeny olive brown colour. Should we put her back? Because she might be a bit scared. Let's pop her down there. That's quite exciting. So shore crabs are very common.
Yeah, I think they might be the most common crabs.
Sounds like it, doesn't it? Common crabs. Is there anything else we can see? There is a little crab hiding under here. I can't quite see. And there's also a little feathery.
That feathery stuff, yeah.
That is that's a little animal.
Yeah. But sometimes animals.
It's a little feathery animal.
Look a bit like plants sometimes.
Like a sort of hydroid. What else can we see?
Oh look, the snail moving.
There's a snail moving.
Is it?
Oh, there it is. Yep, he's off on a wander. So this is.
What snail's this?
That's a periwinkle. He's having a bit of a munch on some seaweed by the looks of it. There he is.
Oh, and you can see that it's a bit gooey inside.
So this is a periwinkle, and he or she has got other things living on him.
I think
There's a barnacle there,
yeah.
and He's trying to get out. So this is a vegetarian sea snail that likes to eat the seaweed and graze on the seaweed. So we'll pop them back there. And if you look over here, there's another sea snail, and this is called a dog whelk.
Dog whelk, yeah. They're different because if you see...
if you turn them upside down...
Yes, and there you can see that one's more rounded, that one's more oval, and that one's got a little crack in
A groove, yeah.
a groove, and that one hasn't got any. Oh look, it's got a little...
He's got his antennae coming out. So when you're handling rockpool creatures, always make sure your hands are wet to keep them moist. Because these are sea creatures and we don't want to hurt them in any way. So dog whelks are carnivores, the periwinkles are vegetarian. Dog whelks, what they do is they have a little drill inside their bodies and they go and drill down that groove and they eat barnacles and they empty their stomach contents into the barnacles, all the mussels, and then they suck it back up again when it's all digested. It's quite disgusting really. So those are dog whelks. Pop those there, pop him or her back there. And the other sea snail we've got, which is a really lovely one, is a purple topshell. This is a purple topshell.
These ones can have loads of little lovely patterns. I really like these.
These are good ones, aren't they? They've got nice patterns on there. You can see the mother of pearl just there. And they're stripy and purpley coloured. And it's got a little
Pink
door.
stripes, yeah.
It's got a little door there, and it's called that little door is called an operculum. So that keeps the snail from drying out if the tide goes
Now,
out.
what's this? Is it a carnivore or a vegetarian?
That one's a vegetarian. That's another vegetarian. So
Right,
that looks like a little something there.
And
So what have we got? Seaweeds. We've got some really nice seaweeds here. We've got something called pepper dulse. That's a red seaweed. We've got sea lettuce.
sea lettuce. I know
And this
that
one's
one.
called, this pinky one here is called corallina. It's got little bits of coral in it. So this is very pretty.
And there is another type, but it's down there a bit, so we can move down there in a bit.
Can I show you something else?
There is a crab under there, you know.
I know the crab's under there. I don't want to hurt the crab getting it out. It's an edible crab, but I don't want to hurt it.
Might be
It's
different.
quite wedged. It is a
Yeah.
different sort of crab. We'll find another one. The other thing I wanted to show you was, you know those dog whelks? They can come in different colours. It's all the same. So here's a yellow, orangey
Oh look,
one.
it's got a little black spot on it.
Yeah, so there's an orangey one. There's a stripy one. And there's a winkles there. So yeah, you can see
Oh,
they
yes,
come in
and
different
this is,
colours. There's another one. That's another one. Look at that one. That one's stripy too. That one's yellow and white stripes. All
that
the
the
same.
dog
All the same, yeah. They're all dog whelks. So one of the nice things about rocky shores like this down at Caswell is that it's divided up into 4 different zones. It's called zonation. And you have the top zone, it's called the splash zone. And you can see where the barnacles are, the line of barnacles, where the tide comes up. And above that, you've just got yellow and black splotches, those are the lichens, 2 different types of lichens growing on them. And nothing else can grow up there because the plants are right above. It's a splash zone because it gets very salty splash water going onto it. And so all the creatures that live in that area have to be very tolerant to salty water. So you don't get much growing there apart from the lichens. Then in the top band there you can see the upper shore, which is where the barnacles are. Lots and lots of barnacles. And they're adapted to survive out of the water for a long time. So this is the upper shore. Then you're starting to go into the middle shore, which is where we are now. And the middle shore has got lots of small seaweeds. It's got lots of pools are starting to form. You've got lots of little periwinkles. You start to get limpets and barnacles. Then as you move down the shore, you can start to see there is more seaweed. As you're going down, that then starts to be the lower shore where the seaweeds are very, very prolific. amount of seaweed. Okay, now we're going to have a look at some of the creatures that are living down in the lower shore. Now the lower shore, where you get the most creatures, is what we call a high biodiversity. There's lots of food, covered in water twice a day, and so there's basically more shelter and more food. Very competitive down there, but we can find lots of creatures. But first I wanted to show you just this creature here. So here at Caswell we have what's called a honeycombed worm. Now this is quite special because it creates these little sandy tubes from the sand, and this is a little habitat in itself. So lots of creatures live inside, in amongst this reef of honeycomb worms. So it's really hard walking on these rocks. So when we're walking on the rocks, we always try to walk on the bare rock. One, because it's safe, we don't slip over, and two, we don't squash and crunch these honeycombed worms. Shall we go down to the lower shore? Shall we?
Ooh, what's this rock? What's this? So, this rock pool has got a lot of rocks, and it's good that you always look under rocks and see, because there might be a couple of crabs underneath, or starfish even, but it's always important where you open a rock, or
Well, you lift up a rock, yep. Always put it back.
Always put it back in the same place, otherwise it can
Oh,
disappear.
look, here's a starfish.
Oh yeah, and look, is that her? Whoa, is that?
Is that a hermit crab
Wow.
there, or is that a hermit
No,
crab there?
that's a hermit crab, I think.
That's a dog whelk.
Dog whelk.
Should we look at the starfish first?
Yes, okay.
So when you've got a starfish,
It's
Martha,
always about five
it's got five arms.
arms.
It's got 5 arms, so this one's completely got 5 arms. You have to be really careful when you pick it up. So I'm not going to pick it up by one arm. I'm going to try and pick it up from its whole body, from the centre. Okay. So there you have. I got a wet hand, and I'm holding it flat on my arm. Hold that for me, Martha, for a second. Don't drop it. So the starfish is the right way up. If you turn it upside down, you can see it's got loads of tubed feet in these channels, and the mouth is in the middle. But that's also where it excretes from, so it's just the one hole. And I know starfish look very cute, but they are also big predators. So these will eat the barnacles and the mussels. They particularly like mussels. And what they do is they also regurgitate their stomach contents over to the mussel and then suck it back up again. So starfish are quite disgusting, really, but very pretty. And when they feel threatened, so if you did pick it up by an arm, if a seagull came down or a crab tried to grab it, it would lose an arm to save itself, and it would grow a new one. So sometimes you see starfish with just 2 arms or 3 arms, and then you grow a new one. It's not brilliant because it takes a lot of energy to grow an arm. Oh, here we have a hermit crab. I could just see a hermit crab. Let's put that starfish back, and let's put the stone back around the right way. I might put the starfish somewhere safer. Over there. I'm going to turn this back right way around. We've also got what's called an anemone. Can you see that in there? This is called a beadlet anemone, and a beadlet anemone sometimes has, if you're lucky, you'll see a ring of blue circles just inside the antennae. Well, that's not the antennae, so the
Suckers.
like the
Tentacles.
tentacles. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Just inside the tentacles, there's a little ring of little blue rings, which is called a beadlet anemone. And here is one of my favourite creatures. And
It's a hermit crab.
There's a hermit crab. Should we see the hermit crab? There, if I put it into the sunshine,
Please could you?
there's the hermit crab. See if we can watch it coming out. Oops,
Here it comes.
it's being a bit shy. There he comes. Here he comes.
Oh, isn't he cute? Oh, I love hermit crabs. And look, they've got little antennae. Well, they're like a type of crab, but they're very, very
They are.
different species.
They are a
Different
crab,
crab.
but they soft-bodied crabs. They don't
Yeah,
have a
so they
hard
don't
shell.
have a hard shell. So they need to have a little snail shell, or like a shell,
They look for the empty shells, and they sit inside empty shells.
They can change their shells, can't
They do, yeah.
They can crawl out of a shell and crawl into another shell.
Well, when they get bigger, because when they get bigger, they need to find a bigger shell, and then you often see them trying out new shells inside the rock pool. They'll find a bigger shell. Sometimes they fight over new shells.
But this little
They did this bit of it.
How do they get around in their shell? Well, they're very clever how they kind of just move around.
They often have one claw bigger than another. He's very nervous, actually. He really wants to turn
So
the
you
right
put the
around.
stone back.
Yeah, look at that limpet's moving. It's turning. Should we go and see if we can find some fish and some prawns? Let's go and have a look up here.
Yeah, got a plenty.
Ah. Oh, look, there's a little fish. Yeah, very beautifully. See if we can fish him out. There he is. Now this is a blenny. Should we see if we can put it in the tray so you can have a little better look? Let's see if I can grab it. Oh, there he goes. Oh, little fish. There he is. There you go, sweetheart. Little fish. Let's put him in the tray. That is a blenny. It's a common blenny or a shanny.
Lovely.
You can see it's got a fin that goes all the way down his back, and he's got two side pectoral fins which go out like little arms. He's looking a bit nervous, so maybe we should put him back. But they change their colour. So when they've got a dark background, they go dark, and when they have a light background, they go much lighter. So this one's gone, because of the white tray, it's gone a bit lighter. And it's looking for somewhere to hide underneath. So sometimes it's quite nice to put a bit of seaweed in the corners where it can hide underneath. Or even better, put it back where you found it. Should we put it back where we found it? Come on, little blenny. Let's put some seaweed around you. Let's put you back. There he goes. He's gone back in that little crevice. Let's see what else we can find. There's a nice little pool here. Sometimes smaller pools are easier to find creatures. It's got some sea lettuce. This is the sea lettuce. Oh, look! That's a big prawn.
Wow.
Can you see him? Or her?
We're very lucky today.
Look at those antennae, massively long. If they're really long like that, now this is a prawn. The antennae are really long, which with shrimps they're shorter antennae, but this has got very long antennae, which is almost longer than the length of its body, which tells me it's a prawn. Now they're quite hard to catch because they jump. Right, there you can see his eyes. You can almost see inside his body because it's see-through. So prawns are see-through. Then you go pink when you cook them. They look like little lobsters.
Yeah,
It's got little claws at the front.
It doesn't have pincers.
It does, can you see his little pincers?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Can't really see them.
And then you have these little flaps underneath where he swims. That's a nice thing, nice to find. Nice little prawn. Should we see if we can find another type of crab? there's a crab which I'd like to find called edible crab. Shall we see if we can find it, Martha? Now crabs like to live under stones, so the best place to find crabs is underneath stones. So let's go and lift up some stones. Surprisingly warm. Let's go further down to spice it as well. Can't see much into there, but there probably is lots of things. But we're looking for crab. Should we lift this stone up? Okay. Can you see anything? Sometimes they're hiding underneath other little stones. See, there's a crab just there. It's buried itself in the sand. There he is. Now this is an edible crab. Should we give him a wash? I don't know if it's a him or her yet. That looks like a boy crab. Yeah, see this not very big long triangle, more of a thin strap. Tells me it's a boy crab. And you can tell it's an edible crab. A couple of reasons. It's got a pie crust top. Hey. He's having a little escape. Whoops. It's got a pie crust top, pinky coloured, and the other identifying feature, he's got a stone.
It's like a tip.
Having a hug. Is he's got black tips to his claws. So there you have it. That's quite a lot of creatures that we've just found. So we'd like to finish there and say goodbye from me, from Karen, and say goodbye from my daughter. And thank you for coming to visit our rock pools and come rock pooling with us on this fantastic spring day. Bye.